And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show, and this is going to be episode 446. So I hope you guys had a great day, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK show, we have one topic for you guys tonight for this episode of the MSK show, and that will be on a Venom animated movie in the works from Final Destination Bloodlines Filmmakers. So Sony is desperately trying to keep their rights to Spider-Man by just constantly announcing stuff very similar to what Kathleen Kennedy had like Lucasfilm do like some years ago, where they were just announcing stuff. And then by the time you realize that that had gotten announced, you also simultaneously realize nothing about that has ever been done. Like it was just an announcement.
Yeah.
Because usually they'll say like, oh, this is announced, it's in the works. Then it'll pass like a year, 2 years, and you're like, wait a minute. I remember that getting announced, and I also remember like, wait a minute. So you like she'll try to Google, is there any like work that has been done on this project? No. They're just announcing stuff for
they've done
the
that.
game.
Seems like when they used to do the San Diego Comic-Con and Hall H or whatever they call it, they'd come out and be like, oh, Ryan Johnson's getting a trilogy. So-and-so is doing this. We're going to do this show. We're going to do that show. And then it doesn't pan out. But I guess they got to keep people excited. And I think they intend to do those things. You know, that's what they want to do. But then reality sets in and directors leave, writers leave. They can't get a good script. You know, the bean counters are saying, well, maybe we shouldn't waste money on this stuff. So even though they waste a lot of money on stuff people don't want to watch.
So I just want to let you guys know, you guys have been really awesome for the show. I know a lot of people praise the chat, Michael and WZ and Emily and who's the other guy? Walter. You know, I gotta always give a huge shout out to those clout chasing pieces of garbage. But just know this, I still hate you. I know who you guys really are deep down.
I love you guys.
Oh,
Emily, Michael, you guys are great. Michael likes me. He's a cool dude. What can I say? Emily obviously says hi. She's a sweetheart. So you know what? You know, maybe we just have a better connection. You know, I don't know. I'm not as abrasive as you are. That's the thing. I'm friendly. I'm nice. Everybody likes
older,
me.
I told people this. I was the same way you were for most of my entire life. I got older. I turn all that off. I turn into like that bad boy in the TV show where he gets the black jacket. He slicks his hair. He gets the black jeans. And he's like, my emotions are off. My emotions have been pretty much permanently turned off for shit. It's been like, I don't even know how long. More than a decade, actually, at this point.
My walls up, man. You can't see me. I don't need anybody breaking my heart. I don't need anybody softening my crusty exterior.
I truly dislike certain people on Twitter, not just any specific person. People with this mindset that multiple things can't be true, right? So we'll use Scream 7, for example, right? Scream 7 ended up the way it did for multiple different reasons. Same reason that Scream 6 ended up the way it ended up for multiple different reasons. But I want you guys to really understand this when you're going to watch this back on the replay for not watching the episode live. Paramount executives or people working at Paramount were the ones that did this, okay? So when they offered Neve Campbell whatever amount of money they thought she was worth and completely disrespected her actual, involvement with the Scream franchise, she was like, I'm not going to be in the movie. Then the plans they had for Scream 6 get altered because she was supposed to be in that movie. Keep in mind, the only reason why she wasn't in the movie is because they offered her shit money. And I'm never someone where, I would always say, hey, give that person what they want, because there's many different factors as to why someone should get paid enough money. So like the Jurassic World situation with Chris Pratt and that girl with the huge ass. Oh my God. She played Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man 3. Oh my God. I'm blanking on her name.
Not Bryce Dallas Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah. So Chris Pratt was a bigger movie star than she was. So of course it makes logical sense why Universal or people at Universal doing the finances paid him more money than her. She still got paid a lot of money, but he got paid more. For all these reasons, he's the main star. He's the main attraction. Keep in mind, on the poster, it'd be Chris Pratt to my left. She would be on my right. That's because that's the numbering of them. But Nev Campbell's not like that, though. A lot of people actually misunderstand that. Nev Campbell is the main character of the Scream series. So she is that Chris Pratt person. She is the driver of the movies, like Ghostface is. So it's Ghostface and Sidney Prescott. Those are your two driving factors. Now, Scream 6 did make a lot of money without Nev Campbell. True, but there's a big but there. Then guess what happened? Paramount fired Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega for their pro-Palestine stances. Now, not getting into the politics of it all because I've did it a lot of times, but basically, long story short, she didn't really do anything. Melissa Barrera, all she basically said was the media doesn't show you the other side of the story. I mean, is she wrong? I don't think she's wrong at all. And keep in mind, does that warrant someone getting fired because they just said that? Does that warrant someone getting fired? So guess what? The Paramount people that lead the company fire her and Jenna Ortega because she, said I support Miss Blura, so she's gone. So they have to go back to Nev Campbell, give her what she was actually worth when they could have just done that in Scream 6. Come on, half they had literally just offered her what she was worth in Scream 6. Nev Campbell could have just been in Scream 6. Then they have to go, hey, Nev, yeah.
We really need you. Here's some money.
you know how these things go, Nev. These tacos in this industry. She's like, money because it's a lot of fucking money, I imagine. Why did they just offer that to begin with? Makes no sense. Why are they firing someone for just saying the media doesn't show the other side? This is ridiculous. And you guys want to tell me that Paramount's going to run DC better? This just happened. Checks note 4 years ago. This was 4 years ago. It's not even 10 years ago. They don't run Star Trek good. They don't run Transformers good. They don't run G.I. Joe good. They don't run TMNT good. And you want to tell me they're going to run DC better? There's no way I could believe that. Not a single reason I could believe they could run DC better. Transformers 1. Let's use that one. People like that movie. The animated movie that came out like a year ago. They like that movie. What was wrong with Transformers 1? Oh, wait, they threw out one of the worst trailers ever for that movie, and everyone said, I'm not watching this. It was the very first trailer that caused people to not watch that Transformers 1 movie. I did a reaction to it. I wasn't gonna watch it based off that. I was like, what the fuck is this? This looks like garbage. Fuck this. It turns out it wasn't bad. My loss, I guess, But Paramount's track record with the Transformers series has been bad for a while. The TMNT one has been bad. Like, Paramount doing better than Warner Brothers is pretty much a huge question mark in my own opinion. Like,
well, that depends on what the Ellisons are going to bring, because they just sort of bought into that last year, and maybe they'll wise up. I don't know. That Transformers 1, that was the animated one, correct? Mm-hmm. I haven't saved in my favorites Paramount Plus. I haven't watched it yet. But I heard it was different than they didn't promote it correctly. I think they either promoted it more as a kids movie and it wasn't, or vice versa. I don't remember. I remember that people were talking about it back then, that it was better than they expected, but they didn't get the movie they expected either. But so, yeah, Paramount's got a lot of things to clean up. One day you're going to let me give me about a 20-minute block where I can just rant about Star Trek, because, man, I watched the latest episode of Academy today, and this was actually the best one they ever done, and it wasn't great. It was okay, but they're really screwing that up, and this for the first time in 10 years, they don't have a Star Trek project being worked on or developed. They're doing the the post-production on season 2 of Star Trek Academy, and then the final season of Strange New Worlds. But yeah, you're right. Paramount has done some real. I mean, they're billions in debt, and they're buying a company that's billions. Where they can be like $100 billion.
They shouldn't have Paramount Plus. Remember when they were trying to shop? People Paramount was shopping for buyers like Warner Brothers, like 2 years ago? It was very recent.
That's when Skydance bought them.
Yeah,
because they were in debt.
Remember the sources said, why are you in streaming? It was like, why are you of a streaming service? They just, for some reason, not to be fair, I guess from their perspective, if they have a streaming service, it could look a lot more lucrative to a shareholder that'll be buying their company. But it's like, why does Paramount have a streaming service? When you really think about it, Sony doesn't have one. Like, that's what I thought was a big mistake with all these companies, is having their own streaming service. I would imagine you could just make more money just giving your stuff away to other people and just licensing it to them, actually.
Yeah, I saw an interview. They played some of it on the Film Threat channel, and it was the former president of Disney. And man, his name slips my brain right now. And he was saying in this interview that they shouldn't have created the Disney Plus. They should have just leased all their stuff to Netflix, and they would have made so much money because
It's true.
they wouldn't have the overhead, and they could have just sent it all there. And so I think it was Bob. Was it Bob Iger? It might have been. I can't remember. I'm sorry.
It was Bob Iger. He was the first initial champion of it. Yeah.
And he was saying that they shouldn't have done that because, it just costs money. And Paramount's probably the same thing, but Paramount and HBO combined, I think they're going to have 20 million? Or they're in 20 million now. They're going to end up with like 60 million homes, maybe. I try to remember. I heard the numbers. I heard today or yesterday that Paramount is in 20 million homes. And maybe I believe that was correct. I could be wrong. But there's, and then because they were talking about how Starfleet Academy is not even ranking in anything, and they're not even doing well on the top 10 of Paramount Plus. So, and it's in it's like a niche of a niche, so Paramount Plus is kind of a niche streaming service, and Star Trek's been a niche of that, and it's not doing well. You can always turn it around. You hire the right person to run it. Look at Marvel. They hired Kevin Feige came in and he did a great job in the beginning, turned that whole thing around, got things going.
Yeah.
George Lucas, until he sold it, he ran Star Wars, the whole entire empire. And it was, even without movies and TV shows, it was $1 billion empire through merchandise and toys and books and gaming and things. So if you get the right person in, but the thing is, the people in charge have to hire the right person. And now you're saying Sony's coming out with a Venom movie. And we talked a couple, I don't know, it was the last stream or the stream before, about how Sony keeps fumbling other Spider-Man related projects. So they're other than, I think, than the Miles Morales Spider-Man movies, the Cross Spider-Verse stuff, which I think are really good. So, but if they get the right person, but again, that's like in sports, you get the right GM who can do all the right moves, you're going to be successful. You hire a bum like the Detroit Lions have for countless years until now. I think the guy they got now is pretty good.
People think it's bad in movies and television. People think it's bad in movies and television. It's way worse in sports. Like in sports, you could have a guy that, I don't know, does well for you for a couple of years, and then they just sign this guy to like a 10-year contract to like some sort of like big long-term plan. Yep. And then it ends up like, wait a minute, we haven't won anything with this guy. Fuck, we're kind of stuck with this guy. Otherwise, we have to pay him a shitload of money to get him out of this contract. Because it's actually cheaper to actually let someone ride their contract than just paying them out of it. Because I imagine there's some sort of like severance exit clause in these contracts where you have to pay a person a certain amount of money to get out of it. And it's like, fuck it, might as well just ride it all the way through.
A lot of them have buyout clauses. Like in college, I know in college sports, you'll get a coach who signed like a $5 or $6 million year deal, and there'll be buyout clauses on both ends. And the coach, sometimes if they leave for a better opportunity, they have to pay the college. You might have to pay the college $2 or $3 million to get out. And usually the school you're going to will get the boosters to collect the money. Because if you're a good enough coach to poach from somebody else, the boosters of that college are going to foot the buyout bill for you. So the coach isn't going to go, well, I'm making $4 million here. I'm going to get $6 million over there, but I got to pay them $3 million to get out of the contract. Does make a lot of sense. But the boosters say, well, we'll give you $3 million to pay off your other school because we want your coaching. So that's always there. But in like you said with Paramount Plus, and these companies not running right, if you're losing money on all the projects, just buy these people out, let them go, or don't buy them out and just don't let them do anything. Just keep them. If it's going to cost you more to buy them out, just give them an office and hand them a pack of cards to play solitaire or something. I don't know. Just keep them away from everything and just do whatever you want to do. Because right now, some of the people in charge, like Kurtzman with Star Trek, I can't stand what he's doing. They're just bad. I don't know.
And now we're hearing about like potentially David Ellison wanting to keep most of these people. Like there's a bunch of these rumors circling that he wants to keep most of these things intact, and it's like, well, what's the point of buying them then? I don't even know. Like if you're not even gonna enact, your way of wanting to run a company, what was the point of buying them anyway? Like, what would be the general point? I just don't. You just waste money. That would be just a waste of money. It's like, hey, I'm gonna buy this company, but I'm gonna do nothing special with it. I'm not gonna even touch it. All right. seems to me like a waste of money. That's crazy. If I'm buying something, I want to, potentially use it in some way, right? But these are all just, like the James Gunn one's a rumor currently. The Alex Kurtzman one's a rumor. I know a lot of people do not want the Alex guy in Star Trek. They want him just out.
Well, his contract's up, and they don't have anything greenlit. I think he'll be gone because his contract will be up. And with people are saying, well, Star Trek needs like a 10-year break, but you don't buy a franchise or a service or a company like Warner Brothers and have a franchise like Star Trek and just let it sit, because they're inheriting all that debt. They're gonna be what, $90 billion in debt, and they're talking they need to make $6 billion in cuts from Warner to keep going. So they're going to want to make every dime they can, and it'd be smart for them to try to promote as much Harry Potter, get the DC characters going. If a good way, I still say the best thing they could do with DC Comics is either put it on its own or lease it out to a company to make the comics, save them some money, but have someone like Jim Lee oversee it, keep him there, and then try to make more money with the comics, but let somebody else take the risk in a way and just do it instead of you paying all the creators, find a company that would do it. Because I don't think some of these big companies can know how to run comic book franchises. I mean, Marvel, when Disney bought it, the Marvel comics they just went really bad. And so I don't know. I would have Jim Lee find a group of people to run DC Comics, put him in charge of it, find outsource it and split the money, however you got to do it, and let them just create good comics again. And then retain the rights to any characters they create, of course, and any storylines you're able to use in animated or TV shows and movies. That's what I would do.
Yeah. And some would even question, what does even Jim Lee do? Like, he got DC away from Diamond as their main distributor, but like, what does Jim Lee really ever, like, I don't really know what he ever really does. Actually,
well, he's overseeing a lot of those, reboots, and he's doing all this with the Absolute Universe. I mean, he's keeping Batman in the forefront, which is smart. But what I don't understand is Chris Gore has mentioned this on some of he's from Film Threat.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they have a Batman TV show? Like, that would be the easiest thing to do and make money. And it's a show that if Warner put out there and they could put on, TNT or TBS, they could have it on their streaming service too. And you have a Batman show, you don't have to put a ton of money, because you could just run practical effects. You build your sets once, do 20 episodes a season. You could do a villain of the week kind of thing, maybe an overall story arc, and you got money. I mean, people,
do it animated. I really don't get why it doesn't always have to be live action. They could do it animated, like one of these things where I feel like they can't get people to be invested in these characters is because they're not. It's so odd. All the people that got people interested in this stuff when you were like my age, love to understand, all those guys are gone. All those people that got you invested in like Marvel and DC and all this other properties like Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, and Transformers and all that stuff, all those people have been gone, scattered throughout the industry. Those people are not working wherever they were working at that moment in time. But it's just, for some reason, I think it's truly based off the fact that they see those like animated series that did very well as for kids. They just don't treat it like an actual serious medium. And they know this because you have to see the praise of Batman the animated series and Superman the animated series and all those good ones on
they're
Twitter.
Legendary.
Everyone talks about how much they really enjoy them. They see them. They have like social media guys monitoring that stuff. They just don't like it that a cartoon for kids did better than their precious little live action attempts. That's why it's just jealousy, I'd imagine, at the end of the day, because a lot of these Hollywood people, when you hear them speak, I'd imagine it comes down to jealousy and resentment when one person does something better than them and the fans like that person's attempt than the other person's. Because what other reason would it be? Why don't they have animated cartoons or animated versions of these characters? Like, you have like My Adventures with Superman, but that hasn't really moved the needle at all. Like, no one talks about that at all. That doesn't do anything.
Oh yeah, the newer one they had with actually I thought
Tsunami.
Yeah. Well, they have the one that came out with Oh man, I can't think of his name. He voiced Superman, and he did the voice of Boimler on the Star Trek Lower Decks, and he was in that movie Novocaine. Um, and he did the voice of Superman, and it was a pretty good show. I think there was 2 seasons, and I liked it.
There's a
And
third one coming out, I heard.
What's that?
There's a third one I heard coming out for My Adventure Superman.
Yeah.
So it probably is doing viewership well, but like, why don't they promote it more? I don't understand. Like,
I don't know how great
it's
doing, but
yeah.
I think the hard part with animation, it takes kind of a long time now to get it done.
Yeah.
But they could do well. DC has come out with a lot of if you go on their streaming service, they got a lot of like the Batman Ninja stuff now and animated, and they did the Lego movies, and they do the like the smaller movies that are about 90 minutes long, and some are like 75 to 90 minutes long, and they're all usually pretty good. I mean, I've watched all of them that were on HBO Max because I like them, and I watched everything they had, and I enjoyed them. Like they had the last one with the Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes was pretty good, and they did the Crisis 3-parter, which was good. But I don't know, they just make dumb decisions. So hopefully, when the Ellisons come in and they finally find some people to run this, they can say, "Hey, let's make stuff the fans will enjoy," and maybe talk to some fans. I mean, they like this Green Lanterns. Did you see the preview for the Lanterns show coming out?
I actually skimmed through most of it. So the best thing in my head, I can kind of, man, what's that thing that people do where they say they're doing that thing in their head just to kind of cope? That's what I'm doing. I forgot the actual reasoning behind it. It's something that I'm going to pretty much, yeah.
Defense mechanism so you don't bash your head into a wall.
Yeah. Apparently there was an interview where someone that worked on the show apparently did say it's going to become that cosmic thing that people initially thought it was. But I want people to understand that's what you show on the trailers to convince people that it's a lantern show. Come on, it just says lanterns. It doesn't even say Green Lanterns.
Yeah, that's dumb. And they got 2 guys. I mean, James Gunn is known for his space adventures. I mean, Guardians. I think Supergirl might be pretty good because that'll have that effect. It's going to be in space. You know, he's good with those things. So here he has characters can be cosmic and go into space. And he takes away the rings, puts them in a car, and has them drive around in street clothes and arguing all the time. Like, I mean, maybe it was to save money. I don't know. It just doesn't look like a good show. I mean, they have both the actors in there are pretty good, I think, but it just doesn't look like that good of a show that highlights the Green Lanterns. I don't understand the logic. I don't know. I'd expect that, even if you look at Peacemaker, I wouldn't say it's not space, but they did the multiverse of the dimensions. They had aliens in it, and an alien. They had the White Martian that they'd run into in that little like terminal where you go from portal or from universe to universe through the portal. That seems like it's going to have more alien influence than the Lantern show. Other than the fact he mentions everybody's an alien in the Green Lantern Corps, and one of them's a squirrel. I mean, I like the actors, and I mean, if I think this is going to go somewhere, and they're not going to have the uniforms on to the very end, the very last episode.
Oh, it might not be to like episode 2 or 3 that they might put them on. Because how many episodes is it going to be? Isn't it supposed to be like 8 episodes?
I think it's 8. I don't. Yeah, and I bet you they don't put this uniforms on till episode 8, the final episode. You'll see them get their uniforms, and
oh crap, that would suck.
And I mean, I like Jon Stewart. He's a great and really cemented me to really like him. Is in the Justice League cartoon, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. He was a great character. And I like him a lot. I actually like him more than Hal Jordan. And I grew up reading the Hal Jordan comics, so I really like.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind him being in there in the focus, but they make Hal Jordan old and bitter and angry. Gee, where did we see that before? Oh, Luke Skywalker, Indiana Jones. We got this, at least Hal Jordan didn't quit and just run away, and they got to go find him crying somewhere in a cabin in the woods going, I don't want to be a Green Lantern anymore because, I'm so toxic and everything's terrible. I'm going to cry. I mean, it's so dumb. It just give us the heroes we want. And I don't mind that he's older, but, and then I guess he's, trying to be hard ass about it. Like, I'm going to teach you how to be a Green Lantern, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. And I doubt Sinestro is going to be it, or maybe they'll mention him somehow.
Because it's written by Chris Mundy, Tom King, and Damon Lindelof.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Lindelof. He did that Lost stuff, I think, and all that.
David Lindelof. What would be his? Let's see his TV biography. He's worked in film, television. He was a producer on that Star Trek movie. That's where I remember him from. He was a producer on that 2009 J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie. That's where I remember him from.
He's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he was a writer on. He wasn't credited for that 2009 Star Trek movie. They say he was uncredited. He probably was a ghostwriter. So yes, that 2009 J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, Cowboys and Aliens.
Hey, that was actually pretty good. I like that movie. I know everyone is going to dump all over, but I thought it was kind of. I mean, it's not great, but I enjoyed it. I went to see.
He wrote World War Z. He wrote Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah.
He wrote Prometheus.
Oh, Prometheus. Oh,
he wrote Prometheus. Okay, now
I wonder how bad they butchered his script on that, because that movie sucked.
I wonder how much money they offered him to not sue them for butchering whatever the hell he was doing.
Yeah, Lindelof did a lot of TV shows.
He wrote comics too.
I thought he was involved with Lost for some reason. I mean,
I was
thinking of something else.
I think it was acting credits. Yeah, he acted in several episodes. Yeah, he acted in Lost, I think, in an episode. He's pretty much did everything you could imagine someone could do in Hollywood.
Well, James Gunn's in charge of just Lanterns, but I mean DC or Max or WB, whatever you want to call it, they did Penguin, and that was outstanding. So hopefully that influence is there. I mean, I'll watch. Well, I actually canceled HBO Max because it's not free anymore. So maybe I'll have to sign up for a month or something and try to watch it when it all comes out.
I'm going on the high seas,
but I don't even know how to do that stuff, man. Everyone talks about that, and I have no idea where you look. I had a friend who had one of those fire sticks or whatever you call them. And the weekend the Kong Skull Island came out, I went over to his house, and I just saw Kong Skull Island at the theater. I went to his house afterwards, and he's watching Kong Skull Island. And only thing it had was on the bottom, it had, I think it was Chinese or Japanese language written out in Chinese or Japanese as subtitles, but it was in English. But the subtitles were coming across the bottom. And I'm like, how the heck are you watching it? Oh, I got this stick. It cost me $300 and I can watch.
Oh, fire stick. Yeah, people have that. Yeah.
I guess he called it a fire stick. He watched that. And yeah, like I said, me and my friend went to see Kong Skull Island. We went to a matinee, then we went to dinner or lunch afterwards with friends. I took off over to my buddy's house, and I went in and I walked, and I'm like, how are you watching Kong? I just watched this in the theater, and you're watching it. He's like, oh, I got this thing.
Kong Skull Island. What a movie that was. God. So that thing you mentioned earlier, Jared had posted a clip about, or he retweeted a clip about it, and the caption in the tweet, so straight from Damon Lindelof's mouth, they removed the green from the title because they thought it was stupid. That tells you everything you need to know about Lanterns. Well, what did he say?
So you just announced a Green Lantern show. It's called Lanterns because we all agreed that the green was stupid. So,
right.
So now it's just Lanterns.
So
I don't know if he's being sarcastic or he's just fucking around.
I don't know.
God. Yeah, it's because these people have true distaste for comic books.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of them look down when they did the Green Arrow show on CW. They called it Arrow.
Yeah,
I'm kind of surprised they called the Flash, but and then that when they were talking about doing a Wonder Woman show, that was in just in the early stages of development for CW. They were going to call it Amazon. In fact, I don't even know if they really call Wonder Woman in the Wonder Woman movies. I'm trying to remember now. They always called her Diana. I don't really remember much. And then you remember in the Man of Steel, they never called him Superman. Maybe at the very end.
Yeah, what is wrong with these people?
I hate when they do that. They did that with. Now I understand when they did it in Smallville. I watched the entire run of Smallville.
And contractually, I think there was a reason why they couldn't call him Superman or something.
Well, it wasn't. I don't think it was contractually. They didn't want to, and their whole thing was no tights, no flight, and they didn't want it to be about. They wanted it to be about Clark becoming a man while using his powers, and they didn't want to have the cape and everything. And they finally showed him in the very end with his cape on, and he does it. And I didn't mind that one as much because they went in with that idea and they said that. But I don't know, Arrow, and they wanted to do Amazon, and then in the MCU, I mean, I don't remember if they really call Hawkeye too much. And when he was in the Thor movie and had that cameo, they called him, they called him the Hawk or whatever, as a reference, because they're just say his dang name. I understand when you're hanging around, the Avengers are hanging out and they call them Barton or Cap or Steve or Tony, but just use their names in public. Like they're, I don't know. I hate when they do that. It drives me nuts. I don't know why, but
Green Lantern, the Lantern. So you can make anything you can imagine. That if you have this, magical ring,
right?
Yes, and the fights are still close. Yeah.
Good Lord.
We'll see. I mean, it could be a pretty good show, but it just kind of worries me. I don't know. I don't know. To me, this is the show where you put some money in. I don't know. Maybe it is money, but you put something into it. You have them in space, even not space, but let them use the ring. I don't think they're going to use the rings that much. And now I'm kind of worried about. I heard some of the plot leaks, possibly that they're going to be basically fighting white supremacy, and they're going to be going into the mountains, and they're going to find a group of white guys who are white supremacists, and blah blah blah.
Hopefully that's rumors, because there's if that's true, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, several YouTube channels were talking about that before that was in there. But if you see in the preview, they got the American flag and it's hanging straight down.
Yeah,
that's how they hang the Nazi flag. So they don't usually, when you have an American flag, it's run sideways with the stars and stripes. This hangs straight down, and that's how they hang the Nazi flag. So I don't know. But they did that in Peacemaker, and that drove me nuts. It's like, oh, we're in, Earth X is a good idea, because I used to read the Freedom Fighters comic where they're in Earth X, where the Nazis won World War II. But in Peacemaker, they go there and all the minorities are locked away. And what they do is everyone's happy and everything's clean and there doesn't seem to be much crime. So what is James Gunn saying about minorities? If you remove from society, everything's going to be clean and crimeless. And I mean, that's kind of not the message. It should have been an oppressive, like when I read the Freedom Fighters comic books, and it was a short run, it was an oppressive police state. I mean, they were hiding out, they were fighting on the, under the ground, and nobody wanted to live there. Like the citizenry were just oppressed because, you can't speak up in that situation. But you look at Earth X and Peacemaker, and everybody's having a great time. Like, what does that say? Like, James, I think you really kind of dropped the ball there. Like, you're saying that if you get rid of all the minorities, then everything's going to be great and clean and fun and no crime.
Because this is what I wanted to bring up earlier right here. People like this who just are just corporate shills all the time when it comes to this stuff. Like, what their reaction will be when this stuff comes out, because they'll tweet stuff like this. Person says, I love the teaser. I don't care if they never wear the costumes. I'm sure they will in the decade of movies Jon Stewart will appear in. So first of all,
that's what is in the decade of movies.
Yeah, this right here, that's probably not going to happen. But the thing to bring up with a lot of people when they talk like this is, if you don't care if the superhero wears the costume, then what are you really a fan of then? Like, I try to understand the mindset of what these people are actually liking some of this stuff for. It sounds like you like some of this stuff because they're not reflecting the superhero-ness of the source material that they barely adapt anyway. So, like, it's like people are fans of them not being superheroes or not showing superhero, prowess than them actually being superheroes. Fucking weird. I just don't get it when it comes to these people.
Yeah,
he had a follow-up tweet where he said, you can be mad that I think you can be mad that I think the show will be good, and also have the nuance to understand that I understand why Green Lantern fans are pissed that they chose to throw these characters into a true detective story and not a space odyssey.
But again, that's not, we discussed this several times about like how they take Lara Croft and they change her into something that's not what everybody likes. Well, this is what people like. Now, I know Green Lantern's not this mainstream character, and the normies aren't going to be really upset if it's a good show and the normies like it. It not being Green Lantern is going to bother them too much. But this is not, I mean, it's not really Green Lantern in a way. Now, I don't know that you're too young to remember this, but years ago they used to have a Green Lantern, Green Arrow comic that they shared. And one of the
time traveling heroes, wasn't it?
Well, this is back in the 80s. and they went on like a trip around the country to experiencing and learn things. And Adams was one of the Adams. I can't remember his first name. Man, I'm getting old. He wrote the book, and it was a play because you had the conservative kind of policeman Hal Jordan against the leftist liberal Green Arrow Oliver Queen. And they went around the country and they would encounter these situations where their political beliefs and leanings would be tested or it would be discussed. And it was done really well because they kind of showed both sides and everything. And it was this kind of like I would say a walkabout, but they were just going around to kind of rediscover the country and do some things. And it was Art Adams. And it was a good comic book. And if they're trying to do something like that, but I don't think that's what they're going to do here. I think this is going to be Hal Jordan, hard ass, coming down on the new guy. So they're going to have to butt heads, boom, 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 kind of like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie 48 Hours with Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy, but, you got the young guy who's, full of like sass and smart mouth stuff, and you got the old crusty dude. And that's probably what they're going to do, something similar, which isn't necessarily that bad, but it would have been nice to do that in space.
Yeah, and keep in mind, they could eventually get to the whole space opera that people are expecting from a Lantern show. It's just, my thing here is not comic book fans, actually, what's crazy is I disagree with a lot of people on a lot of things, but I will say that comic book fans specifically have always kind of asked for more accurate adaptations from the books to the movies. Yeah. But it's also weird that because I've always noticed where like people that aren't fans of the material will always advocate it be less accurate. And then at that point, it's like, well, you do know this stuff is actually based off of something. It's not just out of thin air. Like, I don't get it. Or you have like some comic book fans that are like, well, it doesn't have to be a 1-to-1 adaptation then. Well, what percentage range do you think that should be? They're like, well, it's got to be like 50-50. No, it should be like 90-10 if we're being honest here. It's like, if you're adapting something, minus things that can't translate to screen very well, which is going to happen because that's how all this thing kind of works. There's going to be things that they have to cut. Then why would you advocate for a less accurate adaptation of the source material? Because then at that point, are you even getting what the character even should be or what that storyline should be? Like, I guess you could argue if the essence of the story is kept, that's fine. But like, you have people literally online going like, well, it shouldn't be in the vein of the comic books because Green Lantern is not popular. So just do whatever, just write random. Because here, my guys, I've always told people this: casuals are going to accept it no matter what. They don't know any difference. They don't know.
Yeah, they don't care.
There's no reference point for them. Actually, you could show them Sinestro as Hal Jordan, and they wouldn't fucking care. As people say, as long as the story's written good. I always found that as a red herring argument too. It's like, well, people said if the story's good, it'll be fine. That's a subjective thing anyway, and that's to me. It lines up with those sports teams who do that thing of like, oh, we're just tanking and we'll be better in the long run. How many sports teams do you guys know that actually do that end up becoming good? You can't even remember one because it's like, it's been too many that have used that line of excuse. Like, well, if the show is good or the movie's good, then it'll be fine. It's like, well, no, that argument technically holds no weight, usually to me, because there's no way of knowing it's going to be good. It's a subjective thing. It's like, you could watch it, I could watch it, we come to the same conclusion or a different conclusion. But when someone says like, oh, we'll just, if it's written very well, it's like, I'll be the judge if it's written very well, because a person that's going to be a corporate simp or someone that's going to be a fanatic crazy person is going to say it's good, whether it's actually truly written well or not. So I've also told people the same thing. Trailers need to convince you to watch it. Trailers are literally, there's a reason why, like
your sales pitch.
Like Scream, the Scream 7 movie that just came out. They said they spent like $10-15 million on TV advertisements. Come on, who's hell spending that much money on TV advertisements in 2026 is crazy. But they spent $10 million on advertising. Guys, advertising is everything to this stuff. A big reason why a lot of stuff doesn't get to you or it exists is because of the lack of funds or the lack of funding advertising. This stuff, like, they put out a trailer, it should convince you to watch the show. Now, to be fair, in spite of a bad trailer, I do believe a lot of people will watch the show because Lanterns or Green Lantern as a character itself or multiple characters has a fan base. It's actually pretty big. So it's going to have people watching it in spite of the bad trailer, but that trailer itself could have make or break people from viewing it more or not viewing it, because that's what a trailer's supposed to do. And if the trailer doesn't convince you to watch the show, that's a perfectly fair argument to say,
Yeah, if that trailer doesn't attract the normies, then it failed.
Yeah.
People always say that. Well, you can't judge it by the trailer. You kind of can, because the
They
trailer
literally put them out for that
your
reason.
sales pitch,
Yeah.
I mean, if you did a McDonald's commercial for your new, I don't know, bacon double cheeseburger they have, and you have a commercial and they got this big sloppy looking burger, and the person talking about it, some slob, and he can barely, speak, coherent language. He's like, well, you won't eat this cheeseburger, like no one's going to want to eat the cheeseburger. So you have to, that's your 10-second push. That's your elevator pitch, as they say. Someone sees that for 30 seconds or a minute or however long it is, and that's got to draw them in. And if you say, well, I saw that and I don't like it, and then people tell you, well, it's just a trailer, you can't judge it by the trailer. Well, yeah, you can. I mean, you could judge whether or not you want to see it based on it. Now, you can't totally judge whether a movie is going to be good or bad, but you can judge whether or not it's made you excited about seeing the movie. Now, we talked before, if you tell me Marvel's coming out with a movie and you just say the name is Marvel 58, it's our 58th Marvel movie, I would go to the theater and watch it, not knowing who's in it, not knowing what it's about, because I like that stuff. But that's not going to get anybody, not many people in the theater. It's not going to get normies in. They're like, Marvel 58, what the heck is that? So there's a certain trapped audience you're going to have. The goal of this trailer is to get the people who aren't trapped.
Right. Because that's the thing is, when you have fan bases like the Green Lantern one for the DC Comics, they're going to watch kind of just, even though they might think it's good or bad, they're going to watch because that's just kind of what you're going to do. Like, dedicated fans are going to watch whether they think it's going to be good or it's not going to be good. But if you don't kind of get to that other audience, because they're always, because this is their lingo, this is what corporations and all these people talk about. They want to reach a bigger audience. That's what the trailer should be for. The trailer isn't actually for the people that are already going to watch it, that are fans of Green Lantern. They want to reach people that aren't fans of this stuff. And then that trailer did not convince you to watch it, then because the amount of fans that are of comic books is not enough to sustain viewership. Who knows? Maybe it might be bigger or not, but their initial goal is like, it's like a woman argument they always have. Women are an untapped audience in our things, and we know that's a lie because most women don't even watch this stuff anyway unless their boyfriend's watching it with them.
well, they always say that about like Star Trek or Star Wars. Well, we need to bring in women, but actually a lot of women have loved Star Wars over the years. I know a ton of them. They're not they're not as like rabid about it as, say, me or you or a lot of other people that are. I'm not the most rabid Star Wars fan. I really like it, but I'm not into it like I am Star Trek. Now, I've been to years ago, I used to go to a lot of Star Trek conventions, and I would say there's at least almost 35 to 40% women. There is tons of them walking around. They're dressed up and cosplay and stuff. They really liked it. There is an audience there, but they act like you got to change everything to draw them in. Well, then you're going to just get rid of your built-in fan base. Like I said, I'm a trap guy. I think when you have an audience, you have the people who like comic books and the superhero genre. And then on that group, you got two. You got one like me who'll see everything unless it's really bad, like Madam Web or Craven. I mean, very rarely will I not see a movie. Then you have the fans who are more discerning who will say, well, maybe I'll see it on streaming. I heard a lot of bad things about it. I'm just not even going to bother. And then you have the normies. And the normies, you have to draw them in. And what happened with the MCU, I got so big, and I can tell you, I have dozens of friends and family who never was into superhero stuff, watched all the MCU. They got into it and then went back and saw the ones they didn't catch in the theater. And they got drawn in because of word of mouth. It became a cultural phenomenon. People are talking about it. So you want people to see Lanterns. It's not going to be anything like the MCU. When somebody's watching HBO or TV or a pop-up ad on YouTube or something, that's got to draw them in. And I don't think that's going to draw a lot of people in because that might be kind of confusing for people who don't even know what Green Lanterns are. In the end, they show the guy flying away. And then you're like, well, you're doing this cop thing and you're talking a little bit. You talk about aliens. So there's aliens involved. Are they superheroes? What? Like it did. I don't think that did anything for the normies. And that's who they're going to have to capture to make this successful. And I think the Penguin a lot of word of mouth made it good. I don't know what the ratings were for that. I've heard, I remember watching a few streams and people talked about that, but it was a great show and people liked it, and it got nominated for awards because of word of mouth. The same thing might happen. It might be a really good show and people talk about it and they go back to watch on streaming.
Yeah.
But based on that trailer, if I showed that to all my friends who aren't comic book people, they're gonna be like, what the heck's this? They're not gonna understand that.
Yeah. Also, when it comes to the advertising of these superhero TV shows, these TV shows are not always as viewed as movies are,
Yeah.
Like with the MCU, like a lot of the movies that failed because the characters from the Disney Plus MCU TV shows, a lot of people didn't even know those characters even existed because they didn't know the shows even came out because the lack of I'm pretty sure Disney didn't market them, but just like some people just aren't turned on by all this stuff though. And I will say there are people that say you don't have to watch everything. True, I don't actually watch everything myself as much as I used to, but Lanterns I'm sure gonna watch. I like Hal Jordan, I like Johnson, I actually like that concept. I really think it's really cool, honestly, But I told people this before. When it comes to like shows like that, it's so weird. Comic book fans are advocating for a less accurate adaptation of their stuff. That's just so weird.
I think that's cope. I think when people say that, I think they just try to like it and they want to defend it. So they say, well, I don't need it to be that way, or I don't want it. I mean, they don't have to be accurate. Like if you adapt a story from a comic book to the movies, like they did with The Watchmen, you're not going to get all that 12, the original Watchmen is a 12 issues, and you're not going to get that in the movie. So you got to make some changes, but it was true to the source material, I think it has to be true to that. But a normie who never read the comic, they could have done anything with that movie and it was good. They probably would like it. But I think when people say, well, it doesn't have to be, I think it's a little bit of cope. And I think it's because they just want things to succeed. And I've been guilty of that. I've admitted on this show before. I've wanted a movie to succeed so bad before. Sometimes I overhyped it. Like when Man of Steel came out, I had friends who hated it and I liked it, but I was a little more like, you know what? It's really good. I got a little more into it to defend it because I really like Superman. He's like one of my probably my favorite character of all time. And I really wanted the movie to succeed. So maybe I was coping. And I admit that, but I think when you just say you want it to be like that, that's not smart. I think it is, I can accept it if it's like that, but I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be close. Like, I don't know if you remember they had that Captain America movie in the 90s where Captain America, the Red Skull was Italian.
Oh, yeah.
And they had to put rubber ears on his suit because his ears couldn't come through the holes right. And it looks stupid. So when they did the new movies with Chris Evans and they gave him the helmet and they changed it up a bit, I didn't mind that because the suits aren't going to really go one-to-one when you're wearing a suit. Now, the Iron Man suit looked really good when they did the Iron Man, the movies. Like they had the gold and the red, in the first one. And so that was real accurate. And then the Spider-Man suits have been pretty good over the years. They're real close. But there's certain costumes that when you do them, you're like Captain America be kind of tough to do, like a Captain America red, white, and blue with the ears and the little wings on the hat. Because they put the wings on Namor's feet in Wakanda Forever, and even though I think it's cool in the comics and they tried it, looked kind of silly. Like I don't know, they had these little wings on his feet and that's how he flies. I know they did it in the comics, but I thought that was a little weird it didn't look right in a movie.
Or like the She-Hulk origin where she's tracking those guys and then she gets shot and she has to have that blood transfusion. It's
they're not going to show that. That's too nuts for
that origin is crazy if you guys know how her actual origin is. And it's also one of those things where do you eventually start experimenting with showing those kind of gruesome origins? Because those kind of gruesome origins get you really attached to the character, though. Like, they suck to go through, but, Daredevil's origin, like, wasn't acid thrown in his face?
No, it was chemicals fell out of a truck and it blinded him.
Yeah,
and it gave him his powers.
Sucks. Yeah.
And actually tied that into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now they can't do it tied in directly because, they're two different companies, but that ooze that made them into like anthropomorphic turtles. They kind of ripped that off and they intentionally, Eastman and Laird intentionally based that off of the Daredevil thing. So if they ever came together, like say Marvel bought out the Turtles franchise, they could actually say that was the same accident, but now they really can't say it, but it's implied. But yeah, like you said with the Echo was supposed to be more, they had I think they called it Spotlight. That was supposed to be a little more adult and more gruesome because that show was a little more violent. So maybe they could do that in the MCU, but when you throw that stuff on Disney Plus, people aren't going to like, you put your kid in front of Disney Plus, you're not going to want them to turn on a thing and watch Jennifer Walters get shot by a mobster and have the Hulk give her a transfusion. That's kind of tough. So yeah. But,
or it's this thing of that's always happened too with a lot of media is even from like the 80s and 90s, from I can remember, they think if something's too violent, they can't show people that. I'm a firm believer in just kind of showing it in its most gruesome potentialness than letting the person decide if they ever want to go back to that, because that's what happened with a lot of anime and a lot of stuff too. Like they actually butchered and censored stuff because they think people just mentally can't handle it. I know kids growing up that watched Hostel and were just fine. Like actually they were just fine. They're like,
we watched so much gross stuff when I was a kid. Texas Chainsaw, all that people getting stabbed, all the Friday the 13th movies.
That's where we got all the tropes. It's like, wait a minute, why are they always killing off the black guy first? Wait a minute. Black guy's always dying first.
They did that scary movie. That was so funny when they talking about that.
They always have like some couple that's fucking when the other guy is dying, and it's like, oh god. But keep in mind, I've never been under this belief that everybody can't handle stuff. There's gonna be people that are gonna be scared and all this stuff, but I think that's actually done a lot more damage, is thinking that people can't handle stuff. So you can't show them the actual way it kind of should be portrayed to them. I've never thought of that, but
I think there should be warnings, because parents should, not have to watch a whole show, but do a little warning, say there's blood or, adult themes or whatever, and then the parent can decide. But in the latest Predator movie, Badlands, they make everybody an android in there so they can just kill them all and rip them apart, and then the blood comes out green, or it's supposed to be like fluid or whatever. So you can do whatever you want to them because they're not people. So that's how they get away with that. But even Lucas, when he did all of his movies, stormtroopers are getting whacked. But when he did like the prequel trilogy, they had the robots a lot. So those were just easy to take care of, and nobody really cared because they were robots. Those robots were weak. They're all skinny and weird, and then the Jedis would just go whoosh, like 20 of them would go flying away. Yeah, I didn't think those were the greatest the battle droids, I think they were called. But you got to watch the gore though, and that's I don't know. That's and Disney's probably not going to get into it. That's why the new Daredevil, Born Again, wasn't as violent as the ones on Netflix. The ones on Netflix are just bloody, man. He'd get beat to a pulp, and he'd be beating people, and he'd blood, and people getting stabbed, and I mean it was crazy.
There was an episode I remember, like it got like 1 million views on like usual stuff. Kingpin just smashing that guy's head in that door repeatedly.
Oh yeah. He had a guy and he just boom, 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 and he just he killed him, and it was brutal. I mean, that was a very brutal. I haven't watched him in a long time. It was a very brutal series, and then the Jessica Jones series.
That's another brutal show. The first season of Doe, that's a brutal show. I've not seen it in its entirety, but I've seen clips of how brutal it can be. People watch that just fine, and they kind of went, "All right, cool."
They had the really deep theme of sexual abuse in there, because the Purple Man was mind controlling Jessica Jones and forcing her to do things. So it was very adult, and that kind of stuff is never going to happen. When she's supposed to be back in the next season of Daredevil, and they're not going to bring anything like that up. And she was a drunk. She was bitter and angry. And the Netflix show, I don't think she's going to be, she'll still be a little rough, but I don't think she's going to be as nihilistic or angry. I think they're going to tone her down a little bit, but we'll see. I mean, they could get a little edgier. Maybe that's what they think they might need to kind of promote the show. I don't know. Yeah, we've been talking about an hour. Haven't talked about Venom yet.
Oh God! All right, let's get to that. All right. Quality. You never love it. Oh God, more Venom. We just can't get enough Venom these days.
Kind of surprised me with this because I had no idea we were talking about it, and I haven't done any research. So I'm going to be winging it here, people.
Research. You won't. Who needs that stuff? Oh gosh. Hey everyone, I am MSK and I am not alive. I'm gonna need a drink.
Me too. I got a little bit of a congestion today. I apologize.
I can't. That's the problem with me doing pre-recorded videos by myself. I get way too congested for some reason. I have no idea why that happens. That's why you guys don't see me do many pre-recorded videos like I used to. I get way too congested. Like oh my god, I have to take time out of the video, pause it to just sneeze my brains out or blow my nose, and I'm like, wow, all of this disgustingness just left my head. So and keep in mind, the reason why I enjoy doing videos with people more, only for the aspect of if I forgot something and I didn't mention it, I'd be like, crap, I didn't mention that at all. God dang it. So it is better to technically do videos with people because that person can, oh my god.
Yeah, you can play off each other and it keeps the conversation going. It's pretty good.
The locals in South America caught piranhas. There's piranhas in South America. What in the world? Oh my god.
Yeah, in the Amazon River, that's where they're from. Yeah, those things are they're pretty rough.
God, no.
I was at an aquarium once at an aquarium store, and a guy had piranha in there. They were pretty cool looking.
Good lord.
Yeah, I had him in this big thing. You couldn't, and they had it behind like a wall, so you couldn't.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, yeah. They will attack. What's like? They're like one of the few species that are that could like hunt a human and they won't care.
Well, anything goes. They want to eat. If they're hungry, they'll attack you and stuff. And if you make too much of a splash, I guess they'll come after you in the water.
Good lord. Oh, that's what we should do to every single PDF. Throw them in South America River. Have them just getting eaten alive.
Have them go in a bunch of polar bears. Polar bears are the only bear that will just hunt down a human and kill them for the fun of it. The other ones only attack you if they're hungry or you.
It's crazy though. The white bear will hunt a human and kill it, but the black bear won't. That doesn't seem right.
Actually, they're not even white. That's just because of the reflection of the sun and the snow.
I forgot. That's because they're in the ice. They're actually not.
But polar bears, like you said, once they smell you, they can smell you like 2 miles away. They come and they want you. They'll come after you, and there's nothing you can do about it. But like black bears and grizzlies and those things, unless you scare them or they're extremely hungry, they won't mess with you. Or you mess with their young. If you get near their cubs, you're done. So, but a polar bear, they don't care. They'll just come up and they'll take you out just for, because. So anyway, we gotta get into Venom because we keep jumping off subject here.
Good lord, it's Joe's fault. All right,
I know it is my fault. We're going polar bear crazy here today.
Hey everyone.
Sorry, chat. Oh, sorry.
Oh god.
What the heck?
No,
sorry.
No, it's fine. You're good. Whew. My god, quality. You're never gonna get it here. You're gonna get millions of dollars. All right. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about a Venom animated movie in the works from Final Destination Bloodlines Filmmakers. So Sony is kind of in a potential renaissance when it comes to keeping their Spider-Man rights to their character. Wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. The fuck? My brain just turned off. I was like, why are we even doing a show? All of you guys look I was like, who's Joe? Who are you people? Oh, I'm joking. Good lord. I pretend to have dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever we have. All right, let's go. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about a Venom animated movie in the works from Final Destination Bloodlines Filmmakers. So Sony has been desperately trying to keep their Spider-Man rights to the character by announcing these Spider-Man adjacent movies and TV shows, actually. And now it's getting to a point where they're like, you know what? Let's start announcing Spider-Man adjacent animated stuff too, outside of them already doing the, Miles Morales Spider-Verse animated movies, actually. And that third Spider-Verse movie should be out in 2027, actually. So, they failed with their Sony Spider-Man universe with, man, look, hear this run out. Venom to Kraven. That was their run.
Yeah, that was not pretty at the end there.
And then, to find out, they could have always used Spider-Man. They just weren't using Spider-Man for the love of the game because they just wanted to fuck with us. That's just how bad it was. And then it was announced they're going to be doing a reboot of that Sony Spider-Man universe. Is that going to involve Spider-Man? One would think, right? One wouldn't think they wouldn't use Spider-Man for a second time, right? Who knows? It's Sony. Decisions they make are usually always pretty bad too. So Venom is, as a character, even as I was a kid, because I grew up with the Spider-Man animated series, I really like the character of Venom. I think the character of Venom is pretty fun cool, actually. Now, my thing with him is I don't really know why he's always teetering on the more good side of being a good character now. Like, I do enjoy the aspect of that being like as kids would say, if you have a hero character and someone is kind of similar like that hero character in a villain aspect, I kind of like the aspect of a darker Spider-Man as a villain character. That's actually a pretty cool concept, actually. I forgot who actually created Venom. I'm pretty sure Todd McFarlane said he didn't create Venom. It was the other person who started that. But Venom, I like Venom as a character. I feel like Venom is an awesome character, a well-done, well-made character. He's had multiple comic book runs throughout his entire character's existence. I mean, Eminem, the rapper, said it. That's his favorite superhero character is Venom, right? But there's this thing of why is he always just a hero now? Why can't he just be a villain like he was before? Wasn't there a comic book where he beat up Black Cat just because he's just that insane?
Yeah, he's been a villain and an anti-hero, and then the symbiote went to Flash Thompson, and I don't know. It's like those things. They just get a popular character and they want to make him a hero so they can sell more comics and do more with him, which isn't always bad. But his first appearance was, I believe it was Secret Wars 7, because that's where Spider-Man got the black suit. And then you find out later it was the symbiote, and all that, which is a good run. But they do that, they get a villain and they want to make him a hero, and because he's popular and, well, you can make some money. And I don't mind that as much with him, but they do keep him on the edge, and they kind of mix things up. And I know when they did the Dark Avengers, I believe he bonded this symbiote bonded with Matt Gargan, who was the Scorpion. I believe that's who it was, if I remember correctly, but it was a while ago since I've read that. So there's been different hosts, and then they had the Venom that was on Flash Thompson, and then I guess didn't the symbiote go on Mary Jane too? I think that's when it gets out of control.
So currently, right now, there's a run, or there was a run called All New Venom, and it was revealed that Mary Jane. Yes, guys, Mary Jane Watson, Peter's ex-wife, love interest of comic history. She is Venom currently. And currently right now, there is some major controversy around a Spider-Man Venom collaboration miniseries coming out of Marvel Comics right now. I'll let you guys understand, miniseries or Marvel Comics go very hand in hand because that's all they do. 5-issue miniseries or 10-issue, series. But yes, Mary Jane Watson is the host of Venom. Just crazy.
You just run out of ideas at that point.
It's crazy. I have that book. It's over there. It was a tie-in book that Marvel was making for the Venom 3 movie that was coming out. So for a lot of the MCU movies that came out in the last recent years, they made these compilation comic book of collected editions of their characters getting a movie, so people could get that book and you can go, okay, this is where the character originally started, and this is kind of the best stories of the character. In the first Venom comic book, in that book that I have, he literally he scares Mary Jane, by the way, because he look freaky looking. To be fair, girls get scared by little cockroaches, so but imagine a big ass motherfucker like that to a scrawny chick like that. Oh, keep in mind, guys, Eddie worked. The reason why Eddie looked as buffy as he did, he had cancer. He kind of he had cancer or something like that, and he was like, "Well, I'm gonna die. I might as well we'll just look good." You know what I mean? He got motivation because Peter and that whole situation and everything. So I really like Venom as a character. I really enjoyed Eddie Brock. I love that original stuff that came out for his character, and it's just what are they really gonna do with this Venom animated movie though? Because apparently they're gonna do a Venom animated movie. What do you do? Because like you said before, Venom has had different hosts before, but the most popular one is Eddie Brock, though. Like
they should keep it with Eddie Brock. I think that would be the best way,
mm-hmm.
and do that lethal protector kind of thing where he's more of an anti-hero helping out, and because if he's the star of the show, they're not going to want him to be a straight up villain. Mm-hmm. He might do he might be like Wolverine and does questionable things, but usually Wolverine's trying to do right, even though he just goes out and slaughters a bunch of people. But I think maybe they do something like that. But I can't see them making him a straight up villain. But if they do the thing where he's symbiote jumps from person to person, I think it would get too weird. So I think it needs to be Eddie Brock. And
do you think they're gonna do like the Brian Michael Bendis Ultimate Spider-Man version of Venom?
I don't know. Maybe.
We'll see. They could potentially, because they like doing their
ultimate stuff,
different iterations of these characters too. But I want you guys to understand, Marvel Comics is very, very ideally bankrupt. Mary Jane being Venom is just what?
Didn't Black Cat get a suit of armor too for a while, if I remember correctly?
They're circling the drain with a lot of stuff. If you told me, I probably would believe it.
I can't remember. It's just so I don't read the comics really anymore because I mentioned before that they have a lot of trades up at my library, and I do get those, but they're just not compelling. And like we discussed before, how there's like 45 Hulks and there's 10 different Wolverines and there's 18 Spider-Men, and I don't know. It's not special anymore when you do that, and it really bothers me. But when they do Venom, I hope they keep it with Eddie Brock. And actually, I wouldn't mind them going into space and visit the symbiote homeworld. That'd be kind of cool. It'd be different, do something like that.
Right. Oh, also, they're always having these like Spider-Man versus Venom books too. Like, how many Spider-Man versus Venom events do you need? Like, I swear we were getting like these Venom events back in like 2010, 2011. Like, recently, as far as like a few months ago, they had a Spider-Verse versus Venomverse book. It's like, oh my God. Just how many times does this need to keep happening? Now, I will say there is a Venom run by Donny Cates that a lot of people actually really like. That wasn't too far long ago, right? He created the character Null, actually, and a lot of people like that character. But guess what they did, guys, with Null? They made a Queen in Black. Null is the King in Black. That's an actual event that they had. And then they went and made, you know what? Queen in Black. Oh, Marvel, you don't say. What's wrong with you people?
And they'll probably have Venom Jr. or something. I don't know, Null Jr. And then they'll have Null's cousin and Venom's sister-in-law, and they'll have 58 Venoms running around. I think that's when the third Venom movie got a little weird, when all the scientists got symbiotes on them to fight. And it's kind of like, but we kind of established that it takes a while for the symbiote and the host to be able to work in conjunction, and all of a sudden these guys get them and they're running around, they're just as tough as Venom. And so I think that's when you start losing the losing the story, I guess. It just gets so
it loses its luster when like a bunch of different people are able to be Venom too. It's like, well, shouldn't this be special? Like, shouldn't this aspect of this character be what is to just this person? But new Venom movie with Tom Hardy in development from breakout horror directors. Venom hasn't danced his last dance after all. Though the Tom Hardy trilogy concluded in 2024 with Venom: The Last Dance, the sinister symbiote will be making a big screen comeback in a new animated film with the British star involved. The Hollywood Reporter reveals the new Venom movie is in development from writers Zap Lipovsk. What?
Lebowski, I think.
Good Lord. And Adam B. Stein as directors and producers. The trade reveals that a writer's room is opening up at Sony Pictures Animation to begin developing ideas for a script. While it's unclear if Hardy is producing or lending his voice for the leading role, he is said to be involved in some capacity. The duo is perhaps best known for co-directing 2025's Final Destination Bloodlines, a runaway box office hit that went on to become the highest grossing movie in the 6 film horror franchise. Since then, the duo has been tapped to write Gremlins 3, which will be directed by Chris Columbus and produced by Steven Spielberg. Outside of Hardy's Marvel trilogy, Venom was also depicted in 2007's Spider-Man 3, where he was played by Topher Grace. Keep in mind, horrible,
terrible,
god awful, man. Do you remember that? Oh my god! You remember in the movie he was saying like, "Hey, I'm Eddie Brock. Hey sir, I'm Eddie Brock Jr."
Yeah, I didn't mind the way he looked when he was Venom, but Topher Grace is a decent actor, but he was not Eddie Brock.
He barely kept the mask on. If you actually notice in the movie, he barely keeps the mask on. Like, oh god, his arc as Venom was so, and I don't blame Sam Raimi for that. Sam Raimi did not want to use Venom. He just only wanted to have New Goblin and Sandman. They pretty much forced him to put it in. It was mostly like Avi Arad. You guys probably don't remember that guy. Avi Arad was very similar to like Kevin Feige. He was like a big producer on Marvel movies for a long time.
He handled a lot of their animation early on in the 80s and 90s.
And he pretty much pushed Sam Raimi to, use Venom.
Use Venom.
Yeah, good lord. They wanted to do a Sinister Six movie just randomly. Oh god, Sony and their bad ideas never cease to amaze me. The Marvel villain, who has also evolved into an anti-hero over the decades, has had numerous animated appearances through past Spider-Man TV shows. The Venom animated movie is one of several Spider-Man related projects in the works at Sony, as they are also developing a spin-off for Haley Steinfeld's Spider-Gwen. Kill me. Just announcing stuff for the love of the game, right, people? Oh, God. And a film for Daniel Kaluuya's Spider-Punk. At the time of this story's publication, there is no word yet if the Venom project will be tied to the Spider-Verse franchise. Yeah, they want to do a Spider-Gwen movie, and they want to do a Spider-Punk movie. Is Spider-Punk really that popular? I heard he sells very well in trades, but
I haven't really read him. I don't know a ton about Spider-Gwen. I don't think I've read any of the stuff. I know she was dimension hopping or something, and that if they keep that one light and kind of funny, that might be okay. Just have it out there as its own thing. But I have a feeling they're going to try to tie everything together, which could work maybe. But if their goal is to tie everything together, and that's their end point, I think they could run into problems, because they're going to force everything into that funnel. But if they can start it and say, okay, we're going to develop a good Spider-Gwen show, we're going to develop a good Venom show and a good Spider-Punk show, then we're going to bring them together, that could work. I think that's what DC's big problem when they just tried to ram down the Justice League. They didn't create a foundation and they rushed to it. When if you look at the MCU, you had a solid foundation between Cap, Thor, and Iron Man, who were the linchpin. So, and I know they had the idea of becoming a multiverse, not multiverse, but a united team. But if that's your end goal all the time, I don't know. You have to do a good job like they did at Marvel. And if that's your end goal to have a shared universe, that's fine. But if you start off, these three characters are not Venom's popular, but the other two aren't very popular, and you just say, well, we want them here so we can cross more Venom. I don't know if that's going to lend itself to good storytelling in those two other cartoons, but I could be wrong, but I think they need to establish each version on their own, then bring them together, because people aren't going to know, the normies aren't going to really know Spider-Gwen too much or
Spider-Gwen. No. Yeah. Like Spider-Gwen is only kind of known because Haley Steinfeld voices her in those movies. Like Spider-Punk is often, what's crazy is the popular characters that come out of that movie were Spider-Gwen, that Ham, whatever that Spider-Ham was, and then the Spider-Noir, the Nicolas Cage voice. Like Spider-Punk wasn't that. Spider-Punk was like the least of the popular ones that came out of that, actually.
Yeah. I like Peter Porker. Amazing Spider-Man. That was a comic book stuff when I was a kid. There used to be a comic book called Captain Carrot, the Amazing Zoo Crew when I was a kid. Actually, I had a few of the comics. It was a kind of a spoof of the Justice League, and they were all different animals.
What Sony could do is do what DC used to do for like their animated movies for as long as they did, is do Spider-Man animated movies based off of like popular Spider-Man comic book arcs. Don't do One More Day.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Not that one.
Popular.
That's not popular. Actually, that is not getting to that. Oh God, that breaks my soul. But also, don't do it based off Amazing Spider-Man issue 400. Probably not do that one. But okay, Clone Saga. Don't do that one. Okay, so don't do any of those I just suggested, Sony. Don't do that. Don't get any ideas. What they should do is, in that aspect that I mentioned, is because you could essentially keep the Spider-Man rights for a very long time if you kind of just did Spider-Man animated movies based off of story arcs like that, like the one where he's pushing off that steel beam that kind of falls on him or whatever. There's a lot of story arcs where you could do it. I've never known why they don't tap into that. They have the ability. If they want to make a Venom animated movie and a Spider-Man animated movie, it's like, why don't you just make Spider-Man animated movies based off story arcs of Spider-Man, like what DC did for like the numerous ones he got for like Dark Knight Returns, Long Halloween, and
Gotham by Gaslight, and
they made a bunch of random ones.
What's its name? The Killing Joke.
Did a Killing Joke, right?
Yeah, Killing Joke was a little different than comic, but I thought the animated was pretty good, and I like I love the comic book. But yeah, they have some story arcs. They had like the death of Captain Stacy.
I'd imagine Venom is just going to be Lethal Protector. That's probably the most known story arc he has, because who knows? It's possible that the animated movie could be one of the new properties they explore after Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, which will finish Miles Morales' trilogy, slated for June 18th, 2027. As of right now, Venom has no set release date. Man, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, that second one was really good. I really enjoy both those movies. The fact that they're taking this long to make the third one.
I think, when the first one come out, like what, 7 years ago? Like something like that?
2018,
yeah. So it's going to be 9 years between that and the last one. And because it was supposed to be out, I think, last year.
They're supposed to come out a year between each other, remember?
Yeah. And then like, it was really good. I liked the second one a lot. And I really enjoyed the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the animation at first because I was like, wow, that's a little weird. But then when I kind of watched the movie and got used to it, I really liked it. The only thing in the first one I thought was a little odd was how big Kingpin was, because his shoulders were like way out to here and his head was really tiny. And the Kingpin didn't look that great. I thought he was a little exaggerated, but it is what it is. But the second one I thought was really good. They introduced Gwen Stacy, they had the Prowler, things with his uncle. So I don't know. When that ended, I was like, oh my gosh, I need more. And then, now it's been so long, I'm gonna have to rewatch them when the new one comes out, just to get a refresher. But they were really good movies. And I don't know who voiced. I can't think of the guy who voices Miles Morales, but he's really good. And so I don't know. I just hope they do the Venom. I think they might, if Tom Hardy's involved. If he does the voice, I think they'll keep that humorous, Eddie Brock kind of goofy instead of serious thing.
I imagine they're going to use Carnage, because that's just always going to be a go-to villain.
Have to use Carnage.
Good Lord, Woody Harrelson. That felt like a pretty good, accurate casting of Cletus Cassidy. But
yeah, he was good. Yeah, because he's kind of that crazy hillbilly.
It didn't really feel like that in the movie, though. It's so odd. But yeah, what are your final thoughts and opinions on this, man?
Well, I think it could be good. I mean, obviously, there's not a script. There's not things going on. I don't want to say it's desperate, but if this is part of this big relaunch, where I think the live action relaunch sounds a little more difficult to succeed with, but I think the animation could be good. And if they keep a nice, tight, if it's a movie, 90 minutes, have a good script, have Tom Hardy involved, because I think it sold a lot of tickets for the 3 movies. I think it could be okay. And as long as they don't try to just, okay, now we got him, we got to have a shared universe and start doing that right away.
See, that's my thing is, my final thoughts is, even when we eventually get to that movie, because that's not going to probably go into production until after the Miles Morales one is over, or maybe they'll slightly work on it while they're working on that last Miles Morales one. It's just like, why don't they just do Spider-Man animated movies just based off Peter Parker? I don't get it. Maybe they're like, oh, he just only is good for live action. It's like, oh my God.
Well, they have that Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man cartoon that was on Disney.
They did have that, yeah.
Which I thought was going to be really terrible because the art kind of bugged me.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually liked it. I didn't think it was like I said, it was just fun to watch one time, and but it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But we talked before, and I wonder if DC, or excuse me, not DC, Marvel told Sony, we got this partnership and all, but they kind of let them know that if you use Spider-Man too much, we might not use them that much in the MCU, which is guaranteed, $1 billion for Sony. So, they won't use him in the other projects. They may still co-produce a Spider-Man movie, but he might not get played up as much in other movies, and which hurts their brand. I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating. Maybe they're worried if they use their version of Spider-Man and it's not Tom Holland, then it's going to water it down and it's not going to be overall successful. That's just my opinion. I mean, I don't know.
Well, we'll see how this Venom animated movie turns out when it does come out. I would just say this, Sony, you suck and you always will suck. You have some gems in there in your sea of shit, but we know you're just announcing these movies just to keep your Spider-Man rights. Because keep in mind, outside of like PlayStation and a few other things, Spider-Man's all they got. Like people have asked, like, do you think Disney could ever get Spider-Man back? Guys, that's how business works. They've offered them money to take him back. Sony just said no.
Oh, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, it's more valuable for Sony to keep Spider-Man than it be to sell it to Marvel.
It's more valuable to keep them and let Marvel use them. Because that just brings more eyes over to the product.
Like Marvel's for sure offered them money to take him back.
Oh, I'm sure
there's no reason to believe. Yeah, they want probably. Hey, I'll give you $1 billion for the whole catalog. Sony's like, nope.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, it makes.
But if I was Sony, I'd be kissing Marvel's butt and be like, okay, let's keep having them in the MCU. Well, unless the MCU keeps diminishing, but they're bringing in major coin because every time Spider-Man appears in another MCU movie, that's free advertisement for their solo Spider-Man movies. And then they had, Iron Man crossover, and they had Happy Hogan. I mean, he's not as big as Iron Man, but they had some crossover stuff. They had Daredevil. So that, that benefits Sony greatly. So I think they should do their best to keep that relationship good. And Marvel should too, because every time they do a movie, they both make a ton of money. And they're some of their better movies like lately.
So we'll see how it all turns out. So thank you guys for coming by and checking out this video. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel. If you've not already, leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. I am MSK, aka Master Swagging, and we're going to sign out, guys. See you guys later. Goodbye. Peace.
Love you, chat.
Dang it. I
had to throw my love to the chat. Sorry.
No. WZ was here. Why do you hate? I love women. I love women so much. I'm turning a new leaf now. I love women, apparently.
You should. Women are great. And Emily's awesome. She's a woman. I mean, she's in this chat all the time. She's great. We got a great chat here. People like me. I'm happy. We're happy.
God, they like you more than me. It's happening.
I mean,
again.
And like I said, can you blame them? Because I'm a lot more personable. I don't hate people as much.
God. Oh God, just throwing in all the extra stuff.
We love you, big guy. We just like to tease you, is all.
It's just it's how compliments how movies work sometimes too. Because it's weird. When someone says like, "Hey, I like this movie," someone says they don't, and someone goes, "Well, I like that you liked it." Are you saying I'm not saying you did that, but when it happens online, it's like, are you saying that to be condescending? Or are you saying that you actually really mean that though? I don't know. When people say that's like, well, I like that you liked it. Do you actually genuinely mean that? Or are you just saying
sounds passive aggressive?
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah, it always does. It's like, he likes something I don't like. And fuck this guy.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. I enjoy doing the show here, and I enjoy the people in the chat. They're a lot of fun, and hopefully, we keep continuing. We were discussing maybe me being back on Monday and Thursdays from now on. That'd be great. And, hoping that continues, and hopefully one day I get my channel up and I can entertain some of the chat here as well.
Yeah, talk for a little bit longer, and then because I got to do a one-on-one after this. So the reason why we started
I'll let you go.
This show earlier this week on this day is because I have a one-on-one with the Thinkening coming up at 7 my time. So I was like, you know what? We'll just do the show a little bit more earlier, and maybe next week we just do it like about 6 my time anyway. So. But
my time, anytime earlier is better for me because I'm on Eastern, and we start at my time of 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. It's a lot better than 11. So I had to get up in the morning at 7 for work.
Oh, gosh, man. But yeah, the whole Lanterns thing, it's just oh God. Like
Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's good,
hopefully.
but and I think it could be, but I just that trailer was like I guess I was just underwhelmed. I don't know. I was like, yeah, okay. It looked all right. And I'd watch. I mean, if that was a CW show, I get it. I'd be like, well, yeah, they could have a good budget. They got to kick out 22 episodes a year. Budgets aren't going to be that great, but this is like six to 8 episodes or whatever. They got to have some money into it. I don't know. I think it could be better. And to me, that was James Gunn's wheelhouse, space. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll give it a chance because, like I said, I mean, unless it looks really terrible, I'll see anything with, with superheroes. And I mean, I went to see Josh Trank's Fantastic Four movie and paid $4 at the matinee for that.
So this is what people are like. So this is the book, actually. Good Lord, this is what they've been talking about. This one, I've been trying to find it. So this is the series right here. You know what's funny about this series? This is called The Amazing Spider-Man Death Spiral. They actually called the series Death Spiral. On the nose, I don't know.
Yeah.
But okay, I like it. But this is because Amazing Spider-Man is currently crossing over with Venom right now. That's where Peter and Mary Jane are working together to fight some bigger threat. Oh, fucking hell. Not interesting. Doesn't do it for me. I'm already not turned on by the premise at all.
I don't like when they do that. When the side characters all of a sudden get powers. I don't know how familiar you are with Moira McTaggart in the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
She was like Beast. She's a scientist. She's helped Beast at research, and they were like a couple for a while. Well, all of a sudden now she's a mutant. And I don't know what her powers are because I stopped reading it, but it was like she was not a mutant. She was a friend of theirs. She helped them out. And it was a good character. Mm-hmm. Everybody doesn't have to have powers. Like, I mean, I know
you can just take them away.
Yeah,
this happened with Joshua Williamson's Superman run. Lois Lane got Zod's powers because of something that happened in Absolute Power, but they took them away. And it's like, okay, if you're it shouldn't be a constant. It shouldn't be you keep them though. It should be like, hey, they get to experience what a hero is, and then they lose them and they go back to what they are. Because why would they be? Because keeping them is the problem with me. It's like if you keep them, then I don't know. That kind of feels like that's just very lazy and cheap writing to me when they get to be able to keep them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe an issue or two or something. They tried something, but when they do that, like they did that in the Flash TV show, all of a sudden, Iris got the powers for an episode. I guess one episode, whatever. But just it's such a tired trope.
Yeah.
Now back in the 50s and 60s when Superman was popular and they had like Lois Lane had her own comic book and they had Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal. Jimmy Olsen comic, he got powers all the time. He had like stretching powers and he did other things. And Lana Lang, she was like Queen Bee. She got these bee powers or something. So they did that then, but those comics were like sillier and they were just, one issue kind of goofy things. But when you do that constantly, like Mary Jane shouldn't have powers. Maybe you want to do an issue or she somehow gets them or something. I don't know.
Then they have like what ifs for that. I thought that's what ifs were for.
Yeah.
What if? Yeah, a perfect outlet for you to try creative things like that. Like those kind of things shouldn't be like mainline continuity, but because I've had that in superhero shows too. Like if they get it for like an episode or maybe an issue or two, and they lose them because a villain takes them away, that's fine. But it's like a permanent thing where you get to have them. It's like okay, that's just lazy and cheap. I just can't do that.
I don't know. It's just it's kind of tiring, and it's like okay, we've done it. Nobody needs to see it. I don't know, and just have it like I don't know if you gave Mary Jane something like maybe she got the symbiote for an issue or two. And she deals with maybe something on a small scale, like, oh, there's a robbery going on. She helps out or something. But if she's going to be fighting like Carnage or doing something or fighting, the Rhino or I don't know. It's dumb. It's just like how we say this. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing with this stuff? I don't know. I guess you run out of ideas. You have, 1,000 issues of Spider-Man plus he had 40, he was also in Amazing and he had Spider-Man and he had Web of Spider-Man and he's been in the Avengers and he was in the Fantastic Four. You just kind of run out of ideas maybe after a while. I don't know. But certain things just kind of bug me, and the tropes get tropier.
Yeah,
If
like
that's a
every
word.
once in a while they're kind of cool, but it's just if
Yeah.
if that's your only fallback is to do that
Yep.
constantly, it's just like fuck.
Yeah,
Holy mother of God.
it's like
They're out of ideas.
I don't know how many sitcom TV shows you watch in your life, but I grew
A
up on
lot.
them,
A lot,
and
sadly.
a lot of them will have a male and female character,
Yeah.
and there's always that sexual tension. Will they? Won't they?
Yeah.
And then by season 5, they will. And in season 6, 7, and 8, maybe they're together, and that spark is gone, and they try to they're gonna have a kid, or they're gonna adopt a kid, or something. They got to try to keep doing something to keep people coming back. Usually, once they break that romance down and they get them together, the wall down between the romance getting together, the show gets bad. So I don't know, but I'm sure. Oh, you got to do your thing in a few minutes, so I should let you go.
Oh, it's not that bad. I
Okay.
got another like 5 minutes. I'm just trying to find good lord. I'm just trying to find this conversation that Peter Parker and Mary Jane had when they reunited in that crossover issue. I can't find that shit at all.
Yeah,
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I don't know. And then I hate when the other thing I hate when they do is you have classic characters like that, and then they break them up, and then they tease them getting back together. Then they do, then they don't. It's like I don't know. To me, Peter should always be with Mary Jane. Superman should always be with Lois. Batman and Catwoman are kind of that on again, off again couple.
Like you like the status quo kind of things.
I like if it's iconic, I like to keep it that way. And maybe that's just me yelling at clouds because I'm an old man, but I kind of like certain things like that. I like it to stay.
I like Black Cat with Peter. That's always been my thing, actually.
Oh. I don't know. I just always liked him with MJ. That's what I grew up reading. That's what I liked. I think there's certain iconic things. I think Superman should always work for the Daily Planet. It might have an arc where he gets fired or something. Yeah, but he should always be there. Batman should always be in Gotham City. I mean, he goes out and does other things, but his home base should be Gotham City.
Oh God,
things like that.
I found something of it. Good Lord, I'm gonna have to bookmark this because you guys remind me to bookmark stuff because I'm old. I forget everything.
You are not old.
This is the panel from when he figured out that Mary Jane was Peter. Because of course he's gonna call her Eddie because Venom is Eddie for the most part all the time. Yeah. Stop calling us Eddie. Then there you go. Yeah, she's Venom now. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick up Amazing Spider-Man 23 on sale now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, if they did it for an issue to try something.
But Eddie Brock is Venom. Are you fucking serious right now? We can go back to eating. Oh, what?
Even cracked ones? Oh my gosh.
Oh, she's becoming insane. Oh, she's becoming insane. It's bad. It's bad, people. When she's becoming insane. It's
and everyone's got to swear and be tough guys, and it's like, jeez, I'm tired of the edgy. Everything's got to be edgy.
Yeah. I don't get people too. It's like you don't always have to cuss. Like I hate people. They get on my nerves.
I'm not big on swearing. If people want to do it, it's their business. But I know you need to, like in Star Trek now. One of my millions of complaints is they swear in Star Trek Academy all the time, and it's like, it's just cheap. It's just. Like Star Trek was always supposed to be a little more cerebral. I don't want to say highbrow, but it was a little, it wasn't like that. It wasn't crass. And one of I can't remember the title now. It's driving me nuts. One of the Next Generation movies, when they crash the Enterprise, Data says the F word, and everybody's like, it was like a shock because, oh my gosh, you finally hear one of the Star Trek characters swear. And in Star Trek 4, somebody calls Kirk and Spock a dumbass. Because they walked out in front of a car, hey, dumbass. And then Kirk yells back, well, a double dumbass to you, because he didn't understand the way they use the slang, That was kind of funny. But now in Star Trek Academy, it's always, you're dropping S-bombs and F-bombs and Bs. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's just kind of classless. I don't know.
Apparently, Marvel's going to be doing a Bishop limited. Oh, my God. The time lost X-Men is back. This June, Bishop headlines a new solo series by Saladin Ahmed and Mario Santoro.
I always like Bishop. It could be cool if they did it right, but I haven't read X-Men in so long because I thought that old Krakoa era sucked. So
probably
I always thought he was a cool character.
I know they're saying solo. This means 6 issues max.
Yeah.
Hey, and a lot of people are always like, why don't black characters get their ongoing? Well, if you don't support them, then they're not going to do them. It's just kind of that simple, you know? This person blocked me? Oh, fuck this person.
Oh, you got blocked on Twitter?
No, because he said, you don't give Jean Grey a solo series. That's wrong. I can tell people who are faking and being tourists. Jean Grey had a solo series just last year. It didn't sell very well. That's why they canceled it. I said because she can't sell worth of shit. It's true. She can't be by herself. What?
Well, you know, when Wolverine started, he didn't have an ongoing book. They always had one shots and miniseries. And then when his first origin of Weapon X was in Marvel Comics Presents in the back, and that was like a 12-issue thing where it was a part of a story. Then he finally got his ongoing and everything. But they always did limited series. Punisher had a ton of limited series.
So to Marvel's tweet, they just wrote trash.
Dumpster fire.
Oh, they also teased for Spider-Man's 1000th issue coming up, even though legacy numbering doesn't show that, because legacy numbering, I hate legacy numbering. They should just keep the number where it is. That's a big pet peeve of mine. Apparently they teased something big's gonna happen for the Amazing Spider-Man's 1000th anniversary issue. Someone said, why don't you just undo one more day? They're not doing that, guys. They're not doing that.
I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe Aunt May will get, Dr. Octopus's powers and she'll be a villain, and I don't know what they're gonna do. Who knows?
I doubt they're gonna undo one more day specifically because that would be them admitting that they fucked up with Joe Quesada back in the day. No, they're not doing that, guys.
Just because they didn't want Spider-Man to be married. It's so stupid.
Because oh my god, we'll have to cover that probably like next week. Joe Quesada's thing. I bookmarked every meltdown given to him, and I love it. Apparently, he broke them up because he wasn't married and he didn't understand. His perspective was he wasn't married, so he didn't see it as a big deal. And it's like, that's bullshit. It's like, fucking hell, man. I don't believe that for a second.
In Marvel, they said, well, people, they want to be able to relate to Peter more, teenagers, because they're not married. But if you tell a good story, nobody cares.
Like, they can't relate to him growing up and getting married. Like, what the heck is that? Why can't I only relate to him if he's... Apparently, Peter can only be related to if he's some bum, low-life idiot.
What? I get, when he was a teenager and he was bullied and stuff and he had problems, you can kind of relate because, growing up sucks and you have problems and issues and everything. But you can relate to married characters. You're not married. You can relate to single characters if you are married.
Yeah.
Here's going to be a
story. Yeah.
Here's going to be a big shock. You can relate to people that it's not your gender or your color or your religion.
Crazy concept, actually. It's crazy.
Like I used to relate with Falcon, Sam Wilson, when him and Captain America had a team-up book, because I always thought he was a good character. I liked Captain America, but Captain America was a bigger ideal. I mean, I didn't really think in these terms when I was a kid, but it was Captain America was this big icon. He was Captain America. And he has Buddy, who was traveling around there fighting crime together, and I always liked that because he wasn't the icon. He was the guy doing the dirty work and helping out and doing the best he can, where Captain America was the ideal. Sam Wilson wasn't. And I related that more because I wasn't the ideal as a kid. I had a ton of problems. I wasn't always the best. So I really liked Sam Wilson. And here's a surprise. Sam Wilson's black. And I identified with him. And I didn't care. And guess what? Another character that I really, really liked growing up was Wonder Woman, because she was cool. And she was a good character, and she had a lot of nobility to her. And I thought that was a lot of fun to read that comic book. But you don't have to I never identified with Peter Parker when he got married. I wasn't married, but I love the character. But these people think this stuff. Yeah. Oh, you have to identify. No, you don't. Write a good character and people will read the books.
It could just also like this weird relatable thing that people always go on. It's like, it's like, why would I want my fantasy to be relatable anyway? It's make believe, if we're being honest here. That's the big crux that they never realize. Is like, some stuff should be relatable as far as like maybe character aspirations, like very minor little stuff. But like this aspect that everything has to be, we have to relate and we have to really feel how it's like
you got to see yourself in them. No, you don't. I don't want to see me in anything. I mean, I can see myself in Kingpin because a big fat dude with a bald head. Whatever.
I always kind of wonder, you want to see yourself in Joker? Joker's a homicidal maniac.
Yeah.
If you see yourself as Joker, I probably don't want to be around you. Just period. Point blank. I think you're insane, probably.
Well, that whole, if you just write, like, you've seen the original Ghostbusters movies, right? With, well, they wrote Winston as the everyman because you needed somebody. He was the audience perspective. He was this guy who didn't know all this psychobabble, spiritual or whatever metaphysical stuff. He showed up for a job, so he was the everyman. And where you had Egon and Brinkman and Vinkman and can't think of what's his name's character. The other guy, they were like, well, two of them were the nerdy scientists and all the supernatural, and Vinkman, Bill Murray's character was kind of almost like I don't say con man, but he was the slick guy and he was a professor and everything. But Winston shows up and he's this dude looking for a job, and he's like, "Hey man, I'll do it because I need money." And he was the everyman, and he's the one that he reflected us as the audience. And that's what, if you want to, that's the kind of thing you can relate to, but doesn't mean the other characters in the movie you don't like or you don't root for, you don't enjoy them because they're not like you. The character we are most like in that movie is Winston. And the rest of them, we're not anything like those guys, especially Dan Aykroyd's character, because he's a weirdo. And so is, oh man, I can't remember the other guy's name, but it drives me nuts. I'm losing my mind. But yeah, if it's a well-written movie, people will watch it and like it. If it's a well-written comic book, they will. So you don't have to see yourself and everything. It's
crazy that people it's crazy. People love Sonic, yet you will never be Sonic. Sonic's a blue hedgehog that runs. People are fucking stupid. I just really hate people, actually. But we're gonna head out of here.
I know you got to get going. So
anything you want to say before we head out?
No, just take care, everybody. Thank you, chat, for coming in and spending the night talking with us, and hope to see you on Monday.
Yeah. Next Thursday we should be starting like around the same time. It just depends how old I am, because my wife gets home that doesn't exist and she wants me to do chores. But thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK Show, and we'll see you guys